Listen, if you tend to finish sooner than you'd like, if your body responds before your mind feels ready, there's one simple at-home trick many men try. They believe it will solve the problem instantly, and all it requires is a tube of toothpaste. Yes, toothpaste. Before you laugh, dismiss it, or think, wait, do people really do that? Let me tell you something. Thousands of men have tried it. Many claim it works, and almost none of them truly understand why it might work or whether it's actually safe for their body. I'm Dr. Amelia Hayes, a urologist. Every day I work with men dealing with performance, control, and confidence issues. And one of the most surprising questions I hear in my office is this: Doctor, does putting toothpaste on my penis really help me last longer? So let's have an honest conversation. Because behind this strange home remedy is a real biological mechanism, a nerve response, a cooling sensation, a temporary numbing effect. And yes, that can influence how quickly you climax, but here's what most men never stop to consider. Does this trick come at a cost? Anything that numbs the most sensitive nerves in your body may help you delay climax slightly, but it can also irritate your skin, disrupt your partner's body, or even dull your sensation over time. And the real truth, whether toothpaste helps or harms, is something hardly anyone talks about. That's what we're uncovering today, but don't skip ahead. You need to understand how your body functions first. Only then can you decide whether this hack is harmless or whether you might be unintentionally causing damage. And trust me, the most important takeaway comes at the very end. Let's break this down step by step. First, why do men finish too quickly? What is actually happening? Premature ejaculation isn't always a disorder. Most of the time, it's a natural body response, a combination of nerve sensitivity, hormone signaling, blood flow patterns, and psychological pressure all happening simultaneously. Here's the simplest explanation. Your penis contains an incredibly dense network of sensitive nerve endings. These nerves send signals through your spinal cord to the areas of your brain that regulate arousal. If those signals fire rapidly, climax happens rapidly. It really can be that straightforward. Now add stress, add performance anxiety, add the pressure of wanting to impress or prove yourself. When your brain shifts into a sympathetic state, fight or flight mode, your body becomes quicker to release. That's why many men climax faster when they're nervous, yet last longer when they feel calm, secure, and confident. Next, consider circulation. Stable blood flow is essential for erection control. If blood vessels are weak or pelvic muscles are overly tight, arousal spikes rapidly but lacks the steady control needed for endurance. And then there's sensitivity itself. Some men naturally have hyper-responsive nerve endings. That's not a defect. It's not weakness. It's simply biology. But it does mean that even light stimulation can trigger climax earlier than desired. So why does toothpaste enter the picture? Because people assume it fixes premature ejaculation. In reality, it temporarily interferes with those nerve signals. But, and this is critical, just because something can disrupt nerve activity doesn't mean it's safe for your skin, your partner, or your long-term sexual health. Now, let's talk about why some men believe toothpaste works. It isn't magic. It doesn't alter hormones. And it certainly wasn't designed for sexual application. What it does is manipulate nerve sensation. Most mint-flavored toothpaste contain menthol, peppermint oil, and cooling agents. When these ingredients contact sensitive skin, they create a cold, tingling, mildly numbing feeling. For some men, that temporary numbness reduces stimulation intensity. Less sensation leads to slower nerve signaling. Slower signaling can slightly delay climax. It's the same principle behind desensitizing sprays, except toothpaste lacks proper dosing, medical formulation, And safety testing for genital use. When a man feels that cooling sensation, he may think it's working. But what's actually happening is mild nerve irritation that confuses the sensory signals, just enough to create a brief delay. And let's be clear, the delay is small. We're talking minutes, not miracles. The problem is unpredictability. Too much toothpaste, the wrong type, or leaving it on too long can quickly shift from mild numbness to burning, stinging, and significant discomfort. Here's what most men don't realize. Toothpaste contains detergents, abrasives, whitening compounds, and other chemicals safe for teeth, but harsh for delicate genital skin. Those same ingredients that polish enamel can create micro-irritation, and that irritation is the only reason the method appears effective. But if toothpaste numbs by irritating nerves, what else might it be doing? Let's discuss the risks first. Irritation. Toothpaste includes foaming agents and cleaning chemicals designed for the hardest surface in your body, your teeth. The head of the penis is covered with some of the most sensitive tissue you have. That mismatch alone can cause problems. Initially, reactions may be mild: redness, light stinging, minor burning. Many men ignore it, but repeated use or sensitive skin can lead to inflammation, peeling, even chemical burns. I've treated patients with infections that began this way, all from using a product never intended for that area. Second, your partner. If toothpaste isn't fully rinsed away and enters the vagina, it can disrupt natural pH balance, leading to itching, burning, bacterial imbalance, or yeast infections. But it's hardly the outcome anyone hopes for. Third, long-term effects. Ingredients like fluoride and certain detergents, when used repeatedly on sensitive tissue, may contribute to chronic irritation. Chronic inflammation can negatively affect sexual health over time. And perhaps most concerning, frequent artificial numbing can reduce natural sensitivity. Over time, some men begin relying more on external tricks while their natural response becomes dull. So ask yourself, is gaining a few extra minutes worth risking your skin health, your partner's comfort, and your long-term sensation? Yes, toothpaste can delay climax slightly, but the hidden costs are real, and they accumulate. Now, here's the balanced truth. The concept behind this trick, temporary desensitization, isn't inherently wrong. In fact, there are medically approved, properly formulated options designed specifically for safe use. But toothpaste? It was never designed for that purpose. And that difference matters. Is it technically possible for a man to use it once in a while for a short-term effect without wrecking his entire reproductive system? Yes, but only if he truly understands what he's doing. Let me explain it the same way I explain it to my patients. Toothpaste creates an effect because it cools and irritates the nerves. So yes, the result is real, but that also means the risk comes built in. If a man finds himself in a moment of desperation, feeling anxious, wanting just a bit more control, then using a very small amount one single time, applied briefly and completely washed off, might slightly delay sensation for a short while. Here's where most men make the mistake. They start treating it as a solution instead of what it really is, a shortcut. They repeat it. They leave it on too long. They think more men equals more time. And that's when simple irritation turns into actual injury. Using toothpaste occasionally is like rubbing sandpaper over a callus. Technically, it can work, but you wouldn't scrape your skin with sandpaper every single day. If someone absolutely insists on trying it, the only somewhat reasonable method would be a tiny amount, very brief contact, no whitening beads or abrasive particles, and completely washing it off before any intimacy. Not just for his sake, but because of how it can disrupt a woman's pH balance. But let me be very clear, this is not advice. It's harm reduction. There's a big difference between what's possible and what's smart. And the truth is, safer alternatives already exist. Medical-grade desensitizing gels, controlled lidocaine sprays, clean skin safe formulas designed specifically for sensitive areas. Same concept, none of the chemical burn out in a moment. I'll walk you through the approaches that work better, last longer, and protect both you and your partner. But first, you need to understand the difference between a temporary trick and a genuine long-term solution. So let's focus on what truly works, not shortcuts, not DIY experiments, not frustration-driven guesses. I want to share the safe, research-backed tools I use in my clinic with real patients. First, let's clarify something. Lasting longer isn't only about sensitivity. It's about control. Control over your nerves, your blood flow, the tension in your pelvic floor, and your mental state. If any one of those factors is off balance, your timing suffers. Here are the science-backed solutions. First, desensitizing gels or sprays formulated specifically for the penis. These medical-grade products contain carefully measured amounts of lidocaine or prilocaine, enough to calm hypersensitivity, but not enough to irritate or damage the skin. It's essentially the same principle as toothpaste, except safe, regulated, and engineered for delicate tissue. Apply a small amount, wait a few minutes, wipe away the excess, and you're ready. No burning, no abrasives. No risk to your partner. Second, pelvic floor training. This might be the most underrated strategy available. Structured exercises, start-stop methods, and squeeze techniques retrain the reflex arc that triggers climax. In just a few weeks, many men experience significant improvement. Third, circulation support. A firm, stable erection is much easier to regulate. Nutrients such as L-citrulline, zinc,